The imperfetto is the most problematic verb tense among students of Italian, beginner to advanced. And the reason for that is that it's often misexplained, misunderstood, misinterpreted, and as a consequence, misconceived. Those who have been following me through the years know that I like to keep grammar and theory to the bare minimum, and everything else is practice, either repetition out loud or listening. So this is the one fundamental notion that everybody should know about the imperfetto. You should really emblazon it in your brain and never forget it, because this is going to be a game changer. The imperfetto does not describe an action in the past. Let me say it again. The imperfetto, as a verb tense, does not describe an action in the past. We use the passato prossimo for that, but the imperfetto does not do that. So we're not talking about actions here. Actions are something that we're going to shove aside for a second. So now you've been introduced to the glimpse of an idea, and now maybe you can start catching glimpses here and there of why we use two verb tenses in Italian for past business. So what does that mean anyway? If the imperfetto does not describe an action in the past, then what does it describe? Well, it describes a state, a condition. So, action versus state. But what is an action exactly? An action is something that happened, an event that happened in the past in this case, or something that someone did in the past. A state is a context we're all involved in. It doesn't happen. No one does it. It's a context, something that surrounds us, and we're part of it, like a little bubble, like a little world. Let me give you a couple of examples. We'll go with the action first. Ieri sono andato al cinema. That describes something I did yesterday, last night. Una settimana fa ho incontrato Giovanni. That describes something I did 1 week ago. Alcuni anni fa è crollato un ponte in Italia. I'm describing not something that someone did, but something that happened, an event that took place a few years ago. Let's take care of state now, with the imperfetto. Giovanni aveva i capelli biondi. Antonio e Maria si amavano. Il cielo era grigio e pioveva a dirotto da 2 giorni. One of the sentences describes a habit. I used to go out to the beach with my mother. Another one describes an environment, a landscape. It used to rain and it wouldn't let up. Another sentence describes a condition where two persons love each other. So if I were to ask you, what exactly is the action when I say Giovanni e Maria si amavano? I don't remember if it's Giovanni and Maria, but that's the gist. Giovanni e Maria si amavano. What exactly are Giovanni and Maria doing back then? Si amavano. They used to love each other. But what were they doing? Were they just, could you describe the word amavano as the same kind of action as they drank a cup of water or they took a bite out of a huge slice of pizza? No, because si amavano, they used to love each other, describes a state, a condition, a little bubble of love that they're all surrounded by, that they're all enveloped in. So finally, here come the 3 fundamental rules that define the use of the imperfetto in Italian. The imperfetto describes a state, and there are 3 different kinds of states. Number 1, habit. And this is possibly the most common use of the imperfetto. Number 2, descriptions, making descriptions of persons, objects, animals, you name it, in the past. Number 3, describing a state that we're in, and inside of this state, all of a sudden something happens, and that one action that happens while we're in that particular state is described using the passato prossimo. I'll give you a few examples in a minute. Before we continue, if you find the contents of my videos useful, please consider subscribing by clicking on that button right there. Let's go with the first one, habit. So you don't need to do anything. Just listen and repeat. Just take it in. Sit back, relax, take it in, and repeat. Repetition aloud is the most important type of practice that you can do to learn a language, not just Italian, any language. Habit. L'anno scorso mi incontravo spesso con Giovanni per bere una birra. Da piccolo mangiavo la pizza con i miei genitori ogni venerdì sera. Quando lavorava in fabbrica, Nicola prendeva sempre il treno per andare al lavoro. Da piccolo a Duilio non piaceva farsi il letto. Era un'estate calda, bollente, e tutti andavano al fiume per rinfrescarsi un po'. Non vedevo mai Maria durante la settimana. Preferivamo vederci il sabato e la domenica sera. Number 2, descriptions. Ennio era un bell'uomo. Aveva dei folti capelli castano chiari e un fisico snello e agile. L'intero colle era coperto da una vasta distesa rossa di papaveri, che sembravano illuminarsi sotto la luce del sole di mezzogiorno. La casa era in pezzi, gli intonaci dei muri crollavano e il tetto scricchiolava in maniera sconfortante. Number 3. State interrupted by an action. Stavo leggendo il giornale quando ha squillato il telefono. Ieri sera stavo preparando la cena quando improvvisamente è partito l'allarme antincendio. Alfonso si stava godendo la sua meritata birra quando sua moglie è entrata come una furia in salotto. Now you must have noticed that for point number 3, in a couple of sentences, I used the structure of stare and the gerund form of the main verb. Now that's perfectly legit because this structure puts a lot more emphasis on the fact that the state, the condition I'm describing, is drawn out in time, and I did that by using the imperfetto, and that's a very, very common practice in Italian. Now, here's a piece of advice for you. The one fundamental type of practice that you need if you want to speak more comfortably and smoothly is repetition out loud. Repeating things multiple times, structures multiple times, exclusively aloud. You don't need pen, you don't need paper, you just need to repeat out loud, because let me tell you something, grammar is something you will forget eventually. And if you forget the grammar, then you have to go back to the book and review the grammar and do it all over again and do written exercises, fill in the blanks and so on. But if you repeat over and over again, you create what is called muscle memory. You start to build up that speech reflex that can help you achieve a minimum reaction time when someone says something to you in Italian, and when you forget the grammar, which you will, that muscle memory will remain. And when someone asks you, hey, why do you use that structure? Why do you say it like that? Well, then you can say, I don't know, but I know that that's the correct way to say it. That's the correct way to go about it. Now, this is what gets you as close as you can get to fluency. I hope you found this video useful, and if you did, hit the like button, consider subscribing, and if you have something to say, please pop it in the comment section. Thank you for watching.